in Chapter 7 on the representation of the people. That's the electoral system and process. Now, if you look at Article 81, it tells you the system shall comply with the principles below, right? Freedom of citizens to exercise their political rights under Article 38. Now, remember, key to the present demonstrations has been the freedom of association, which is provided by Article 36 of the Constitution, to picket and what have you. But we also have political rights under Article 38, which require that, say, for example, every citizen has a right to form or participate in forming a political party. The Gen Zs, I think there's some who tried to form, I don't know if it was called the Gen Z. What? There was a name, which was refused. But yeah, you have a right to form a political party. But now the political party, again, has to adhere to our election laws and the Political Parties Act, right? So that is imperative. Also, to participate in activities and recruitment of members of a political party, or to campaign for a political party or cause, right? That is a right that is guaranteed under Article 38. You have a right to a free, fair, and regular elections, the one that we have now, 5-year period, based on the universal suffrage and the free expression of the will of the electors, for example. Elective body or office established under the Constitution, or any office of the political party for which a citizen is a member, and every other citizen has a right, without unreasonable restrictions, to be registered as a voter, to vote by secret ballot in any election or referendum, and to be a candidate for public office or offices within the political party of which a citizen is a member, and if elected, to hold office. So these are the rights that are out there for all citizens. Now that marries into Article 81 on the electoral system and process, that you have the freedom to exercise those rights under Article 38. B, that not more than 2/3 of the members of the elective public bodies shall be of the same gender. Now, this is a thorny issue.
Very thorny.
The 2/3 gender rule, has been a conversation that has been going on in this country for a very long time. And much as we are pleased to see ladies taking up their positions, right, in terms of elective positions, that has not been achieved in the parliament, unfortunately. And we remember that there's a Supreme Court advisory opinion on the dissolution of parliament in this respect, that unless and until this 2/3 gender rule is complied with, then it is unconstitutional, right? And that is one of the principles of the electoral system. So we need to make sure that that is adhered to, right? There's been, for example, in terms of the governors, we've seen now a higher uptake of female governors elected. Unfortunately, for some of them, they've been facing backlash. We know what is happening in Meru even presently. This is another time the governor has been impeached by the assembly. We wait to see how that goes in the Senate. But that is a political question altogether for the people of Meru. And I tend to think, I don't know, I think we've come of age to embrace women leadership. That's not in question. The ladies in this country, they've distinguished themselves far and wide. And it's not a question of favors. They're not being done for favors, right? These are people who are qualified
competent.
Very competent. And even when they speak out there, they present, their positions and what have you. You see that, in fact, there's much substance coming from. And some of them have actually distinguished themselves in terms of leadership. Institutions that have been led by these women have actually outdone some of their male counterparts. Not to say that the men have not done a great job. It is just a time that we need to allow the ladies in this republic to take their position, their place in where they have merited to do so. They have competed. For example, some of them went into elections with their male counterparts and they won the elections. So allow them to do their job. But again, that also comes with a responsibility that, in fact, they have to live by the tenets of whatever office they're holding, the values that are provided by the Constitution. So someone cannot just hide behind the gender card and not discharge what they need to do. in fact, if you've merited, you need to be seen to doing that. And if you do wrong, you have to be held responsible, regardless of your gender. However, the stress of the Constitution is that that two-third gender rule needs to be adhered to. So again, also it says that there's need for fair representation for persons with disabilities. This has also been a question. Okay, here we're talking about the elective processes, but if we deviate a little, the cabinet, for example, I haven't seen someone who has disability being represented in the cabinet. How I wish that there's laws that are remaining for the president, and this is just to put it out there, that in fact the president does consider having persons with disability. There are 3 cabinet slots, 2 cabinet slots, that is, and then there's the attorney general, right? But whichever persons the president decides to appoint, we hope they are competent people who can discharge the functions. And we've seen a millennial in the cabinet, someone who's distinguished, someone whose job has spoken for him. I mean, the minister who's, I think, is 32 years. Yeah. And we hope to see that he actually does that which we expect him to do in that office. There's also the principle for free and fair elections, which are by secret ballot, free from violence, intimidation, improper influence or corruption, and conducted by the independent body, that is the IEBC, transparent and administered in an impartial, neutral, efficient, accurate and accountable manner. Now, goes without saying, in 2017, where Chief Justice Emeritus Maraga presided over the presidential petition at that particular point, you remember the, historical judgment that he nullified the presidential election of an incumbent. And he actually went on and mentioned that that election was not accurate, it was not credible, or verifiable. So that in itself has shown us that we are a mature democracy and our judicial systems have come of age, and that the responsibility that is tasked on the independent body insofar as safeguarding our political rights is concerned, that responsibility is going to be guarded, right? They're expected to ensure that that election is accurate. So as a principle of elections, as opposed to the previous times in 2007, where, the late Kivuitu would say that, I'm not sure who won. You understand? Means we've come a long way. That now there's that requirement, and the courts will not shy away from telling you that whatever you handled here was a sham, regardless of the result. How the process works is more important. It's not just the end justifies the means. It's the means must justify the ends, insofar as the election is concerned. And that is exactly what we need to uphold going into the next election. That we're not going to waver on that. Yes.
Thank you so much, Wakili, for making time. We have really learnt a lot, but we are yet to exhaust. Because definitely you'll have to be back in future.
Asante sana, anytime.
So where do we get you in case we want to reach you?
In case you want to reach me, perhaps through my Twitter handle, it's Vance Wekesa or Vance Harrent. Yes.
Just that.
Well, you can also email me. That is at vancew24@gmail.com. You can find me on those platforms, and we can deliberate further on whatever questions. I'm a governance enthusiast, so any questions, governance, human rights, constitutionalism, we can have a discussion around that.